Top 10 of my most favorite helicopters. 10. Boeing Chinook, with its maiden flight taking place in 1961. The CH-47F Chinook became fully operational the following year. Nearly 1,200 of these helicopters have been built, and it has been exported to countries all over the world. The manufacturers of the upgraded Chinook helicopters have plans to stay in operation past the year 2060, mainly being used by the U.S. Army. The CH-47F Chinook can transport war supplies, troops, and various types of battlefield equipment. It has also been used for parachute drops, medical evacuations, the recovery of aircraft, and many different search and rescue missions. As you can see, it is not only a very large aircraft, but a very useful one as well. 9. Sikorsky UH-60 Black Hawk. The Black Hawk multi-role helicopter serves with the U.S. military and the armed forces of 28 other countries worldwide as a tough, reliable utility helicopter. During the last 40 years, this remarkable aircraft has fought its way in and out of countless combat zones to deliver and extract troops, save lives as a medevac or casualty evacuation platform, provide critical supplies to troops, deliver emergency supplies during natural disasters, and perform as an aerial firefighter and border patroller. Now the modern variant of this utility aircraft is taking on a new mission set as an armed helicopter to provide fire suppression when supporting ground troops, as well as armed escort. With digital avionics, powerful GE engines, high-strength airframe structures and composite wide-chord rotor blades, today's Black Hawk platform has better survivability and situational awareness, and can fly higher and carry more than its predecessors ever did. More than 4,000 Black Hawk aircraft of all types are in service worldwide today. The U.S. Army is the largest operator with 2,135 H-60 designated aircraft. The same aircraft sold internationally direct from Sikorsky acquires the S-70 designation. 8. Robinson R-66. The Robinson R-66 is a helicopter designed and built by Robinson Helicopter Company. It has 5 seats, a separate cargo compartment, and is powered by a Rolls-Royce RR300 turboshaft engine. The R-66 is slightly faster and smoother than the Robinson R-44 from which it is derived. The R-66 received both type and production certificates from the U.S. Federal Aviation Administration, FAA, on October 25, 2010. 7. Bell 206. The Bell 206 is a family of two-blade, single, and twin-engined helicopters, manufactured by Bell Helicopter at its Mirabel, Quebec, plant. Originally developed as the Bell EO-4 for the United States Army's Light Observation Helicopter program, it was not selected by the Army. Bell redesigned the airframe and successfully marketed the aircraft commercially as the 5-place Bell 206A Jet Ranger. The new design was eventually selected by the Army as the O-58 Kiowa. Bell also developed a 7-place Long Ranger, which was later offered with a twin-engined option as the Twin Ranger, while Tried-Air Helicopters offers a similar conversion of the Long Ranger called the Gemini ST. The ICAO assigned model designation B06 is used on flight plans for the Jet Ranger and Long Ranger, and the designation B06T is used for the twin-engine Twin Rangers. 6. Boeing AH-64 Apache. The Boeing AH-64 Apache/T/ is an American twin-turboprop attack helicopter with a tailwheel-type landing gear arrangement and a tandem cockpit for a crew of 2. It features a nose-mounted sensor suite for target acquisition and night vision systems. It is armed with a 30mm, 1.18 in M230 chain gun carried between the main landing gear, under the aircraft's forward fuselage, and 4 hardpoints mounted on stub-wing pylons for carrying armament and stores, typically a mixture of AGM-114 Hellfire missiles and Hydra 70 rocket pods. The AH-64 has significant systems redundancy to improve combat survivability. The Apache began as the Model 77 developed by Hughes Helicopters for the United States Army's Advanced Attack Helicopter program to replace the AH-1 Cobra. The prototype AH-64 was first flown on September 30, 1975. The U.S. Army selected the AH-64 over the Bell AH-63 in 1976, and later approved full production in 1982. After purchasing Hughes Helicopters in 1984, McDonnell Douglas continued AH-64 production and development. The helicopter was introduced to U.S. Army service in April 1986. The advanced AH-64D Apache Longbow was delivered to the Army in March 1997. Production has been continued by Boeing Defense, Space and Security, with over 2,400 AH-64s being produced by 2020. The U.S. Army is the primary operator of the AH-64. It has also become the primary attack helicopter of multiple nations, including Greece, Japan, Israel, the Netherlands, Singapore, and the United Arab Emirates. It has been built under license in the United Kingdom as the Augusta Westland Apache. American AH-64s have served in conflicts in Panama, the Persian Gulf, Kosovo, Afghanistan, and Iraq. Israel used the Apache in its military conflicts in Lebanon and the Gaza Strip. British and Dutch Apaches have seen deployments in wars in Afghanistan and Iraq. 5. Eurocopter EC-145. The Eurocopter EC-145, now Airbus Helicopters H-145, is a twin-engine light utility helicopter developed and manufactured by Airbus Helicopters. Originally designated as the BK-117, the H-145 is based upon the MBB/Kawasaki BK-117C1, which became a part of the combined Eurocopter lineup in 1992 with the merger of Messerschmitt-Vollkaubloem's helicopter division of Daimler-Benz into Eurocopter. The helicopter was earlier named EC-145, an updated version, EC-145T2, was renamed H-145 in 2015. The H-145 is a twin-engine aircraft and can carry up to 9 passengers along with 2 crew, depending on customer configuration. The helicopter is marketed for passenger transport, corporate transport, emergency medical services, EMS, search and rescue, parapublic and utility roles. Military variants of the helicopter have also been produced under various designations, such as H-145M or A-72, and have been used for training, logistics, medical evacuation, reconnaissance, light attack, and troop transport operations. 4. Sikorsky UH-34D. The Sikorsky UH-34 Choctaw, company designation S-58, is an American piston-engined military helicopter originally designed by Sikorsky as an anti-submarine warfare (ASW) aircraft for the United States Navy. It has seen extended use when adapted to turbine power by the British licensee as the Westland Wessex and Sikorsky as the later S-58T. H-34s served, mostly as medium transports, on every continent with the armed forces of 25 countries. It saw combat in Algeria, the Dominican Republic, Nicaragua, and throughout Southeast Asia. Other uses included saving flood victims, recovering astronauts, fighting fires, and carrying presidents. It was the last piston-engined helicopter to be operated by the United States Marine Corps, having been replaced by turbine-powered types such as the A-1 Huey and CH-46C Knight. A total of 2,108 H-34s were manufactured between 1953 and 1970. 2. Robinson R-44. The Robinson R-44 is a four-seat light helicopter produced by Robinson Helicopter Company since 1992. Based on the company's two-seat Robinson R-22, the R-44 features hydraulically assisted flight controls. It was first flown on March 31, 1990 and received FAA certification in December 1992, with the first delivery in February 1993. The R-44 has been the world's best-selling general aviation (GA) helicopter every year since 1999. It is one of the most produced GA aircraft of the 21st century, with 5,941 deliveries from 2001 to 2020. 1. Bell UH-1 Iroquois Huey. The Bell UH-1 Iroquois, nicknamed Huey, is a utility military helicopter designed and produced by the American aerospace company Bell Helicopter. It is the first member of the prolific Huey family, as well as the first turbine-powered helicopter in service with the United States military. Development of the Iroquois started in the early 1950s, a major impetus being a requirement issued by the United States Army for a new medical evacuation and utility helicopter. The Bell 204, first flown on October 20, 1956, was warmly received, particularly for the performance of its single turboprop engine over piston engine-powered counterparts. An initial production contract for 100 HUEYs was issued in March 1960. In response to criticisms over the rotorcraft's power, Bell quickly developed multiple models furnished with more powerful engines, in comparison to the prototype's Lycoming YT53L1, LTC1B1, engine, producing 700 shop, 520 kilowatts. By 1966, the Lycoming T-53L13, capable of 1,400 shop, 1,000 kilowatts, was being installed on some models. A stretched version of the Iroquois, first flown during August 1961, was also produced in response to Army demands for a version that could accommodate more troops. Further modifications would include the use of all-aluminum construction, the adoption of a rotor brake, and alternative power plants. The Iroquois was first used in combat operations during the Vietnam War, the first examples being deployed in March 1962. It was used for various purposes, conducting general support, air assault, cargo transport, aeromedical evacuation, search and rescue, electronic warfare, and ground attack missions. Armed Iroquois gunships carried a variety of weapons, including rockets, grenade launchers, and machine guns, and were often modified in the field to suit specific operations. The United States Air Force also deployed its Iroquois to Vietnam, using them to conduct reconnaissance operations, psychological warfare, and other support roles. Other nations' armed air services, such as the Royal Australian Air Force, also dispatched their own Iroquois to Vietnam. In total, around 7,000 Iroquois were deployed in the Vietnam theater, over 3,300 of which were believed to be destroyed. Various other conflicts have seen combat deployments of the Iroquois, such as the Rhodesian Bush War, Falklands War, War in Afghanistan, and the 2007 Lebanon conflict. The Iroquois was originally designated HU-1, hence the HUEY nickname, which has remained in common use, despite the official redesignation to UH-1 in 1962. Various derivatives and developments of the Iroquois were produced. A dedicated attack helicopter, the Bell AH-1 Cobra, was derived from the UH-1, and retained a high degree of commonality. The Bell 204 and 205 are Iroquois versions developed for the civilian market. In response to demands from some customers, a twin-engined model, the UH-1N Twin Huey, was also developed during the late 1960s. A four-blade derivative, the Bell UH-1Y Venom, was also developed during the early 21st century. In U.S. Army service, the Iroquois was gradually phased out following the introduction of the Sikorsky UH-60 Black Hawk and the Eurocopter UH-72 Lakota, although hundreds were still in use more than 50 years following the type's introduction. In excess of 16,000 Iroquois have been built since 1960.